Greetings, traveler. Have you ever been in a situation when you're developing your own game or you're part of a bigger game development team where you want to improve the gameplay of the game, you want to improve the overall quality of the game? However, people still keep complaining about the game being boring, the features not functioning, the game not coming together, and it just seems like you're stuck in this rut where no matter what you try, no matter what new ideas you're trying to put into the game, or no matter what you fix or change, people still keep complaining. And even more frustratingly, some people say that they like the game as it is. So that leaves you in a totally, completely lost situation about whether the game is good or not and what you should do to move forward. I have been in that situation many times before, and today what I want to share is my method for identifying the situation, breaking out of this rut, and having two simple things to track to move forward towards a direction that will make the game more interesting and will hopefully make people want to buy it so that, of course, the studio and you survive. My name is Xanthos. I've been working in the games industry for over 13 years now, and a new project being not fun, not interesting, people not seeming to be wanting to play it for a long time is something that naturally happens to all new game projects. Of course, when a game starts, it's not at its final form, it's not polished yet, so it's very normal for it to be like that in the beginning. But it has happened to teams that I worked on for multiple years at a time, where no matter how much effort we put into the game, both on the game design side and for the team in general, the game doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Yes, there's changes, yes, there's upgrades and updates in the content, but there's no clear proof that we're moving towards a direction that will take the game that will make the game more fun to play and make people more willing to buy it because they enjoy the experience so much. So being stuck in this situation uh, basically made me back in the day want to take a step back from all the opinions and all the remarks being made about the game at the time, both inside the team and by uh, playtesters, of course, who were just trying the game, and try to look things a bit more objectively and try to make sense of all the conversations and all the comments that were flying around. So, of course, when it comes to tracking metrics about the game, there's a vast amount of literature. There's so many things to track once somebody starts going down that route. But I wanted, before we jump in and do all of that stuff, which is, of course, very normal, but for perhaps a later stage in development, I wanted to find a very simple way to track whether the game was becoming better or worse over time. So, from all the possible ways to track, enjoyment, fun, happiness, all these fuzzy words, I wanted to know if people were having a good time in the game, if they enjoyed playing the game. And as a second step, I wanted to find out if after enjoying it, they would want to buy it. Because, enjoying something for free and actually wanting it are two different things. So I made the very, very conscious effort of tracking exactly these two things. We would implement an update into the game based on the feedback we got in the game design team and what players said they wanted to do, but also what the development team itself said they wanted to see in the game. And we wanted to quantify if this was a step in the right direction or not. A very insidious bonus point I want to make here is that anybody can play the game and anybody can offer an opinion. And when they do offer the opinion, of course, they're being honest because why would they have a reason to mislead us? Everybody sees things from their own perspective. So there's again like many, many ways to think about this in general. But what I'm simply trying to say here is that let's say you're making a racing game and the person trying the game doesn't like racing games. If that person doesn't like the game, that's a good thing, because you're trying to attract people who like racing games to your racing game. And of course, this applies to all game types as well. So you want to attract and get positive feedback from people who should normally like this. And if somebody is not expected to like this, and then they tell you that they didn't really like the game, then that's normal. That's not a reason to absolutely change the game, everything, and destroy all its roots. So with that in mind, going forward, I want to talk about the first metric, the first thing to look at when I was looking at this situation. And that was quite simply and profoundly playtime. This stands upon the assumption that if a person is having a good time in the game, they want to spend more time in the game. Now, how much time is up for debate, right? And it also depends on the type of project. Perhaps you're working on a quick and simple mobile game, or perhaps you're working on this vast, sprawling, deep, interesting RPG that's supposed to be played for months. So there's no clear answer for how much time is enough time. But in any case, starting from how much average playtime the playtesters spent in the game and trying to extend that number, make the playtime longer to the point where it makes sense, of course, uh, is a very simple indicator that people enjoy staying in the game and they enjoy playing it more. And again, it's not the only indicator, of course. There's many things you can track. There's many opinions here, many types of feedback you can receive about this. Of course, it's not just the playtime that defines if a game is fun to play. But if we're in a situation where we're stuck in this rut and we really need to break out and we really need to start making some real progress, this is a very simple, very easy to track, very sane kind of thing to look at and to try to incrementally improve. So going by this, you have a very clear number to track, and there's no ambiguity about it. There's no opinions. It's just a number, so you can take it as a leading indicator. Again, it's not gospel and it's not the only thing out there that can be tracked, but it's something very simple to start with, especially if you're stuck in this rut. And when you get to that number, to a good point where people seem to love spending time in the game, they play the game for more than just, a few seconds. The seconds extend into minutes, to half an hour, to 1 hour and beyond. Then clearly the person who's playing it is having a good enough experience to want to give the game more time here. Another bonus point that I want to make here is that if the playtest that you're conducting is time-based, so you're giving someone the game to play for, let's say, for an hour or for half an hour and so on, and the structure of the playtest is hour-based, of course, this is going to skew your results massively, because the player will think that it's their job to test the game for 30 minutes, which defeats the point of this test. This needs to be more natural, more relaxed, and if possible, it shouldn't even be called a test. It should just be something like, hey, try this game, let me know what you think. So players have the freedom to play it for 5 seconds or 5 hours. It's up to them. So when you have that, when the playtime is extending to a good portion for the type of game that you're developing, we found that the next very important question to ask is, after the player has played for an extended time, is, would you like to purchase the game? Now, of course, you might be thinking, that's a preposterous question. How would somebody know if they want to purchase the game? If you're stuck in this rut situation, and if the game is not complete yet, why would anybody buy an incomplete game? And of course, these are very valid concerns. The way we address these concerns is simply going from either a yes, which has no commitment to it, so we're just asking an opinion, we're not selling directly on the spot. But as the game progresses further along its completion track, then there can be a price to it that is appropriate for the stage of completion of the game. So to give a very simple example, if the game is, let's say, only 30% complete, and the player seems to be having fun, but there's graphics and sounds missing, there's bugs and so on, the game is clearly not ready yet, then it would make a lot of sense to say when you're asking if the player would like to purchase the game, if they would like to do so for a 70% discount. So only 30% of the price, since the game is roughly 30% complete. So there, regardless of whether the player says yes or no, you have a gold mine of feedback. If the player says yes, even with a discount, even in this early version of the game, that means that the player played for whatever time they played when they were testing the game, but they want more. And they don't care that this game is incomplete. Or that they played more and they want to play even more when the game is complete, but they want to take advantage of this early price. Either way, well, you would be getting zero until the game comes out, so any profit is profit, I suppose. But that's really the minor point here. The major point is that you have a real person telling you that they would actually want to purchase the game with real money because they had such a good time in the game, or because they have such a strong faith that this game will only get better from here onwards. And what if they say no? If they say no, that they don't want to purchase the game, either as an opinion, if it's super early in development, or you present a discounted price and they say, no, this is not for me, or I liked it, but I don't want to purchase it, or I don't have enough money for this, or any of these reasons they might present, those are of course all very valid. But at the same time, you know that people who like games typically spend an amount on purchasing them. So if the answer is no, then you get to follow up with what is the reason for it. And again, you're not trying to make them to buy it. Like, making one person buy the game for a heavy discount is really not going to make any difference on the studio's survival. The real value here is to get the story behind their answer, whether it's a yes or a no. So getting that story is essentially going to be even more fuel to put in your machine that improves the game. So if they say they don't want to buy it because this is not the kind of game they normally play, or it's got too many bugs, or whatever the reason is, they're not having enough fun with the enemies or the mechanics or the camera or whatever, that is the feedback that you need to move forward and implement in the next version and make the game even better from then on. And a mistake I made a lot when going through this process was, well, what if a player says no, right? Then that means they don't like the game forever, and that's that. No, true. I started asking the same question again after feedback had been implemented in the game to see if I would get a different answer. And the results really surprised me. Sometimes when people saw that the game had improved over time, that was enough to change their no into a yes. Because of course, remember, there's always the benefit of the discounted price, and the players know that this game would be getting complete and released one day. So taking advantage of it early, if it's something they really want and they enjoy, is just pure benefit for them. The other surprising part of asking again was that when the players saw that we're taking their feedback seriously, and we specifically ask for it, and we specifically implement it, and perhaps call them to play it again, and tell them that their feedback was very important, and we decided to implement it, and we would like to see if they think we did a good job, or if they're satisfied with, or if the game played out as they imagined. Even more opportunities for feedback, but psychologically, there's a deeper bond getting built there between the team and the testers, right? Or the play testers that come in just for this. They know that their words did not fall on deaf ears. And that is such a huge, huge, huge complaint of the gamer community at large, right? How many times have we seen in forums people complaining about this and that flow of a game, and nothing is ever done about it? So eventually players get fed up and they leave the game altogether, and they go do something else. It's not because they don't like the game, it's not because they didn't enjoy it, it's because they put an investment into sharing the feedback they have about the game with the team. They took time out of their own day to go and find the forums or find Twitter or YouTube or whatever and give feedback to the developers, submit a bug or something like that. And even though they put in the investment, they didn't get out the return, both emotionally and time-wise. So it's a very human thing to be disappointed in this situation. And I know it's not possible to address all feedback everywhere always, but the more we can follow up, not only we build trust with our community, but essentially we allow them to help us to make the game better. And for me, at least, that's the best thing you could possibly wish for. So anyway, I hope this helps you, traveler, to put a framework around this if you're stuck in this situation. I know it sucks and it feels horrible, but this is a way that I found to get out of it and make the most of it and move the game in a direction that makes sense for everyone, both for the players playing it and for the studio developing it, and in a business way as well, and the larger community way too. Anyway, that's it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have fun.